Well, people are getting pretty upset because there seems to be a growing trend on TikTok that is around the term black fatigue, but it's not exactly, the videos aren't exactly going the way that you might expect them to. It's all very curious. It's very interesting to me. I've often felt like TikTok, exists to divide Americans, and I still believe that. Whether it's them pushing, you know, LGBTQ stuff to the front page, promoting that in America, but not in China. There is something very interesting about these couple of videos about black fatigue. Now, of course, certain news outlets are having meltdowns, calling everyone racist who is making these videos. But so white TikToker hijacks the term black fatigue to explain her racism. A white TikToker is going viral after she hijacked the term black fatigue and used it to explain away her racism. Let's see if we have the video.
I think society as a whole is there. We are just so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior.
You know, I usually just try to make fun of people on this app, but this shit's not even funny anymore.
What?
Black person blaming white people for all their problems? You don't see that every day.
I mean, it's pretty spicy, but then things started taking a different turn, a very different turn. How about this video?
Black fatigue. This video might make you uncomfortable, but it needs to be made. There's a growing sentiment, most recently, of individuals who are proclaiming they do have black fatigue. And you don't have to be a non-black person to have black fatigue. What does that phrase actually mean? Essentially, black fatigue is a growing weariness of the actions of the quote unquote black community, but it goes deeper than that. Because
Again, from what I understand about the term, I don't think it's applied to quote unquote all black folks. Because there are several videos of black folks just like this that are really inconvenient.
Because we are in 2025 now, and we are being judged based on the content of our character and not the color of our skin.
Uh-oh.
But the interesting part is the lie that's been sold to the black community in particular is that the color of our skin dictates the content of our character. That's why in the black community, sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, you are acting white when they're talking to someone like myself who doesn't act the way most people would expect a conventional black person to act. In their minds, there is a correct way to act black. And the people in your ethnic group who fulfill those very negative stereotypes, those are the ones who are going to essentially drag down the collective whole. And that's why there's individuals who are black who do and can have black fatigue, because they see how damaging it is to see the worst of us attract all this negative attention.
I agree with that. You don't see a lot of King Randall, for example, is somebody that spends a lot of time with black youth, trying to, make things better, teach them life skills. That doesn't get on the front page the same way that this stuff does.
That then unfortunately gets ascribed to the entire race all too often. But what's unfortunate is,
by the way, they do this with all colors, not just black. White people, there's always like, oh, that's a white person thing, or oh, Karens are a white people thing, or this is an Indian person thing. This is just the way the world works. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it. It's just the facts.
Is here in 2025. Now we have to contend with the fact that there's people who are so sick and tired of seeing those negative aspects, those negative individuals in the black community attracting all this attention. That's what is spurring this black fatigue. I think it's something that needs to be talked about. And until we turn inward and address the issues in our own communities, I fear that this is only going to continue and get worse. And that's exactly what the powers that be want. They want to have us against each other instead of us against those who are really pulling the strings in the background.
Think it's just this guy? This guy just being an Uncle Tom, as many would say. How about this video? I didn't even have to search for it. I mean, There are hundreds of these videos.
Let's talk. This is the first time I'm hearing this phrase on TikTok, but I could use context clues and understand what it is. So, funny story, I'm scrolling on TikTok, minding my own business, just getting lost in the videos, and a white woman pops up in my algorithm, and it's titled Black Fatigue, and I'm like, this should be interesting. Now, this is a creator that I've really grown to respect their videos. Basically, in her video, she's calling out the Black community for different ignorant things that we do. And it's not just her. I've seen a lot of white people on this app kind of come out. It's almost like, raise your hand if you've been personally victimized by Regina George type of videos.
I don't know who that is.
And that's what they're doing toward Black people. Here's the thing. The videos that I've personally seen is not racism. It's accountability. It's one of those to where they are tired. They are fed up to where they have opened their camera and they start confessing the things that agitate them about the Black community. And because we have gotten to that point, you know who I blame? The Black community.
Oops.
I mean, for one, the actions that they are mentioning is clearly from the Black community. Black people in the comment sections are just like, this is racism, this is this, and this is this. I blame y'all. This is what happens when the Black community cry wolf or cry racism in instances that's not racism, to where now we have a hard time knowing the difference between what is actually racism and what is actually accountability. We've allowed this to happen because we do not like being held accountable for.
Obviously, I'm not Black, so I can't say, hey, this is what Black people feel about that, but it certainly seems to make some sense.
Some of the ignorance, some of the degeneracy, some of the just plain right foolishness that comes out of our community, we refuse to address it. And when we have people who address it, they are called coons. They are called like judgmental. And so now you have white people entering the chat and said, you know what? We're tired of it. We're tired of being called racist for holding y'all accountable to the ignorant things that's happening.
I mean, how about this guy? These are all like in the last day.
Fatigue. It's all over my FYP page.
Right?
Thank you. I am so happy that this is being brought up. And by the way, for us white people that have been around the block a long time, this isn't new to us. We've been dealing with this for over 40 years. Here's
What
my
happened 40 years
story.
ago?
This is about 2015. I'm at Put-in Bay. Put-in Bay's on South Bass Island in Lake Erie.
Okay.
There's a bunch of bars out there. It's a great place for adults to go play. Think of Pat Daly, Mad Dog Adams.
I don't know.
If you don't know those guys, think of Jimmy Buffett. I'm sitting on a bench on Delaware waiting for my wife, who's in a shop shopping. And at the time, the traffic is two ways. And I think I witnessed why it is no longer two ways. It's a Saturday afternoon. The island is packed. The traffic is bumper to bumper. These two guys going in opposite directions decide to stop and have a chat. Not for a couple seconds, not for a couple of minutes, but I think it was around 10 minutes before people started to threaten them.
Yeah.
But around the 5-minute mark, I'm just sitting there with my arms folded.
I assume these two individuals are Black, just based on what's going on here.
Just shaking my head. And I hear this voice. This is what's holding us back. This is why we're hated. And I turned around to see who had said it, and it was a Black couple about my age. And then he looked directly at me and said, 30 years ago, I'd go down there, grab those idiots by their dreadlocks, and teach them a lesson their fathers never did. And I looked at him and went, 30 years ago, I'd have been right there with you. I have hated this type of behavior my entire life. I've never gotten it. How self-centered do you have to be to have no respect for any other human being? It's all about you. These are the people I've spent my life avoiding. But I had never thought about it from the Black community side. And I gotta say, it sucks a lot more for.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a common misconception when not only just with like regular folks out there, but when mainstream media reports on people, they think that like everybody in the Black community stands in solidarity with this type of behavior. Sure, some of them do. Sure, some of them donated. Karmelo Anthony was like, yeah, you got one of them for us this time. I don't believe that that's the majority of the Black community. Now, they don't speak out about it. The thing is, neither do white people, because when white people do, they get called racist. And when Black people do it, they get called coons.
For you guys, and it does for us white people, because you're associated with it.
Right.
Right? There are a lot of whites that just put you all together. And it has slowed down the healing of this country. But seriously, 40 years ago, racism should have been over. Unfortunately, the Democratic Party has continued to fan the flames of racism to make money and to get votes.
100% not wrong. How about this one?
Black fatigue is real. Everybody is tired of black people, but it's two specific types of black people that everyone is tired of. Number one, everybody is tired of loud, ghetto, and ratchet, and violent, and mean, and angry all the time. Everybody is tired of them. Nobody wants to deal with them. Even other black people do not want to deal with these people. You know when you see them in public, you know when they're gonna give you attitude at the CVS. Everybody knows it and they want to avoid it. The second group of black people that everybody is tired of is this sort of like
the women?
Fake black bougie intelligentsia who kind of like walks around telling everybody how they're supposed to think or speak or act when it comes to anything black. These are the most privileged black people in the world. These people have built enormous platforms and have so much money.
Is he talking about like Stephen A. Smith types, or I'm not sure who he's talking about there.
And yet they are still perpetual victims all the time. And all they ever do is lecture white people about how to talk to or about black people, and then they lecture other black people if they don't talk or think or speak in ways in which they approve. Black fatigue is real. Everybody is so tired of...
You know, he's not wrong. And I actually think it's a good thing that people are talking about this, in particular from the black community, because it's so easy to dismiss when white people talk about it. So the more black people that talk about it, I'm optimistic maybe it will open up more dialogue about how to act right, how to be like civilized. Because you're not doing your own community any favors. And until the black community steps up and starts doing what I've just shown you in multiple videos, behavior won't change. So I think this is actually a good trend. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I want the best for everybody. And I don't want people to be judged based on their skin color. But I do want accountability. It sounds like that's starting to happen. Wait till the mainstream media sees this. Can't wait to see how they react.